XYBERJAE here, and here's another one of my favorite parts. I didn't want to go a little too into the whole Israel and Juice parts of the Nick Fuentes versus Piers Morgan interview on Piers Morgan Uncensored. But here's one scene that I actually did like. So in this topic, he goes over how the Austrian painter was really effing cool. Check it out.
See, that's the reality of your jokes. Although I haven't ascertained yet whether you are joking when you say that Hitler was very fucking cool. Are you joking, or do you actually think he was very fucking cool? The most genocidal cool monster of the last 150 years.
I know. It's hard not to laugh.
Yeah, the thing is, my generation, we're just done with the pearl clutching. You know,
yeah, you might be, but then your generation hasn't gone through what Danny.
It's been 80 years. We're over it.
So maybe the pearl clutching has a way to go for families whose family members were murdered.
Yeah, we got all that. We, you know, me mom, like we're, you know, I don't even know who this person is. Why is this person talking to me? This old British guy is saying me mom got killed by Hitler.
Because he doesn't find it funny when you say Hitler's very fucking cool.
I don't care.
He finds
I don't care.
I know you don't care. That's fine. You don't have to care. But he does care.
Does that guy care about America? Does that guy care about me and my country and my family? No.
He cares what you, a prominent conservative in America, has to say about Adolf Hitler. And what do you mean by Hitler is very fucking cool? Because I think he's very fucking a monster.
Okay. And that's a clip. I think he's very fucking a monster. Do you hear yourself?
Yeah,
I mean, can we all grow up?
I do.
Can we all grow up?
He murdered 12 million people. He murdered 12 million people. What's very fucking cool about that? Tell me.
The edits. It's just cool. The uniforms, the parades, it's cool as a guy. You look at World War II, and it's fascinating, and it's interesting, and it's compelling, and it's cool. And, you know, we're just tired of saying these kinds of things. We want to talk like real people.
And I will interject. In one of my hundreds of history classes where we had to learn about the Austrian painter from Germany, he was persuasive. He was actually very, very intelligent. He was very smart. He wasn't a dumb person. And, you know, some call him a war hero, but obviously, you know, that doesn't mean I condone the Holocaust, right? But, and, you know, I'm not denying it, but there are some questions. And something that radicalized me was Dan Bilzerian, for example, you know, gassing them. Gas makes the walls blue. There were no blue walls there. They also checked the soil, compare it to, you know, where wars happen, or even, you know, funeral cemetery. You know, the soil was a little different. You know, they didn't find any human, you know, remains in there. The soil is different when, you know, humans disintegrate in the soil. But also, Nick Fuentes does have a point about all of this. It's been 80 years. It's time to move on. This is something that happened in another country, in another sanctuary. I think throughout all that time, we could have been learning something else. That doesn't mean we didn't want to learn it, but I think we could replace that already with something else that can help. For example, learning how to make apps, you know, finance, learning about interest rates, you know, so they don't get into credit card debt and make, you know, which country richer because of usury. Anyways, let's go on.
People and give our honest opinions, and then we literally get an old Jewish guy from England who's gonna say, "Oh, that's not very funny, mate. Me mom," and it's like, shut up. Like, you know, no one is in favor of genocide, so let's just get that out of the way. We're not in favor of a Holocaust or genocide.
Do you think if half your family had been wiped out by very fucking cool Hitler, you'd still think he was very fucking cool? Or would you think that actually he was a despicable monster who murdered 12 million people, who targeted people because they were disabled, or Jewish, or Romani Gypsy, or whatever it may be? and that he systematically destroyed people, incinerated them in gas chambers. Do you think that you would find it very fucking cool if your family had been through that? Or do you think you would find it very fucking disgusting? And perhaps moderate.
He wouldn't be alive.
Laugh about it, or what?
He wouldn't be alive. Of course it wouldn't be funny. He wouldn't be alive to laugh. If his family was there and they were killed, murdered, whatever, he wouldn't be alive. What kind of stupid question is that? That's what I would have said.
To joke about it, or want to abuse someone like Danny Finkelstein, who's written incredibly powerful books about what happened to his extended family at the hands
That's
of
everyone's
Nazi
face right now in
hero
America.
Stalin. See, my point to you, Nick Fuentes, is that in parts of this interview, you try to come across as moderate, but every now and again the mask slips, and it's slipped again with what you say about Hitler. There's nothing very fucking cool about Hitler. We know that from history now. We know what he did. You've already conceded that he murdered at least 6 million Jews. So when you say he's very fucking cool, Jewish people watch this and go, this guy's disgusting. Why would he say this about someone who perpetrated such an evil? And what's the real answer? Why do you? Is it just for clicks? Is it for money? Is it just for fun? For shits and giggles? What is it? What motivates you to say something like Hitler was very fucking cool?
It's for this. It's for all of this. And the lack of self-awareness is amazing. You're a boomer. You're a 60-year-old boomer, and we've spent maybe 3 minutes on you saying, he's a really fucking monster. He incinerated people. And I'm sitting here saying it's not that serious. It's not that deep. And
not that
what
serious.
I'm getting at,
not that serious.
Do you want to say more about he's a
monster?
monster?
You're not a kid yourself anymore. You're not a teenager.
I know.
Right? You're nearly 30, to be clear.
Yeah,
okay? You're a fully formed adult who has a brain, right? And at some stage, that brain is taking you off these rabbit
warrants. Is this an interview or is this a lecture? Can I respond to what you're saying?
I want you to explain why you think it's fine to say how fucking cool Hitler is and to dismiss the very powerful...
He had swag.
from a British journalist who lost a lot of family members to the Nazis in such a callous, dismissive manner.
I don't think it's powerful. I think we've been hearing that our entire lives. Okay, the Schindler's List. Let's just be honest. The propaganda is over the top. We have been in America.
What about the Schindler's List? Tell me about the Schindler's List. Well, tell me about the Schindler's List.
I'll tell you about it. We have been browbeaten as a people, as Americans, as Westerners, for our entire lives. And do you know what this has done? It has taken away any sense of pride, any sense of love for our own civilization. We have been made the villain in our own story. We have been made because, well, let's just be clear. It doesn't begin and end with Hitler is a monster. This has been the political narrative, which is why we've thrown open the borders. This is a political narrative, which is why we can't be a conservative society as a whole anymore, why we can't be proud of Europeans, why we can't be proud of being Christian, because they've told us if you're too white and too proud and too Christian, it's going to lead to a Holocaust. And so my generation, our entire lives...
Honestly,
that's why people like me. That's why I'm popular. Because this is bullshit.
Honestly,
yeah, it's a crock. We don't want to hear any more about me mom and me dad. That's a crock of shit.
No, listen. What you just said is a crock of shit. And you know
true. It's called the open society.
In your gut, you know it is. You weaponize this stuff. You weaponize this stuff for money, but you know when you say something like what you just said.
I'm banned from banking. I'm banned from banking and credit cards. You know who you're talking to? I do it for money.
And by the way,
how much money you make? Your company's worth $100 million.
And also, who owns the banks and everything, and PayPal, all of that. You think they're gonna? You know who they is. You think they're gonna give this guy a bank account? Pfft, please. Yeah, right. Also, that was my favorite part when he was saying what a crock of shit and how pissed off he gets, how emotional. He's really emotional, but he's just talking logistical, he's talking facts. And, one of the favorite parts about all this is that, the way they're getting, that's one thing, right? And, obviously... if it was up close, it would be different. But, he's right. He makes a very, very, very good point. Right here, watch. Listen to this part again.
Society society as a whole anymore. Why we can't be proud of Europeans. Why we can't be proud of being Christian. Because they've told us if you're too white and too proud and too Christian, it's going to lead to a Holocaust. And so my generation, our entire lives. See, wait.
Here's the thing, not just them, if you know who them is, but other countries as well. They bomb all these. This is what radicalized me. They, and you know who they are, use our tax dollars to bomb all these countries, them, whatever. The innocent or so-called innocent or people there get moved. They become refugees, asylum seekers. Where do they go? Other countries, our country, to assimilate, which they don't. We know that already, but the open borders, all the people from those countries, which, it is messed up, right? But, now we have to pay for it. We pay the taxes. We go even broke. So we go broke paying for the missiles, the rockets, the bombs, everything. And now we also have to pay for their housing and all of that. Well, both of them. Because they got to move somewhere. They obviously they don't want them there, so they go somewhere else. And that's the crazy part. It's like, wait, so now we got to pay that too? We got to pay them to, live somewhere else? Like, this is crazy. Like, this is why we're broke, you guys. This is why we're broke and why we're in so much debt. But hey, what do I know, right? And that's what Nick Fuentes is trying to say is that, look, we've already given them everything. Not just them, but other countries too, that go through this. We give them asylum, we give them a safe place, but then they come and then they want to take over, they hate us, they want us to, they want to take over the government. It's like JFK said, we're going to lose by not an invasion, but an infiltration. They're infiltrating, and that's what's going on, and they've taken over. And that's why people are upset. That's why people are mad.
Honestly, Nick.
He's not mad at him because of what he believes and that he admits what he believes. No, he's mad that the people agree with him and he woke them up. That's what they're mad at Nick Fuentes about. That's why they're upset. That's why they're mad. They're mad because people agree with him.
True, and that's why people like me. That's why I'm popular, because this is bullshit.
Honestly,
yeah, it's a crock. We don't want to hear any more about me mom and me dad.
Listen. What you just said is a crock of shit, and you know
true.
it.
It's called the open society.
In your gut, you know it is. You weaponize this stuff. You weaponize this stuff for money. But when you say something like what you just said,
I'm banned from banking and credit cards. You know who you're talking to? I do it for money.
And by the way,
how much money you make? Your company's worth $100 million. Your company's worth $100 million. I was banned from Bank of America.
And you shouldn't have been.
From processing credit cards.
And you shouldn't have been.
But I am. So don't tell me.
By the way, for those who don't know, they'll ban, Bank of America, they'll ban Nick Fuentes, but if you look up some history, if you guys want to go back, our government has actually caught Bank of America, which is owned by China, but they've actually owned, I know, right? Bank of America, but it's owned by China. Crazy, right? It's Bank of China. That's really what it is. But Bank of America actually has accounts, houses the money of narco drug cartels. They'll give them bank accounts, but they won't give this guy a bank account. Okay, let's keep going.
Doing it for money. Ask me my opinion.
Sorry, I'm getting emotional too now.
Right? I don't agree with that. What happened?
Then don't say I'm doing it for money, because you know that full well, and you say it's
how much money? How much money are you?
If I wanted to be a grifter, I'd be like you.
How much
money?
How much money are you making?
That's personal.
I'm making a lot of money now.
Yeah.
Now that I'm the #1 live streamer in America, because people agree with me more than they agree with you. We're tired of hearing about slavery and the Holocaust and Jim Crow.
Because we're not getting richer.
Hearing about that.
Mm-hmm.
You guys overplay your hand.
Hearing about that.
Okay, well, your generation's on the way out, and Generation Z is coming up, and we're finished with that. We're ready to take our country back.
I've got 3
we're
sons.
not listening to crying minorities anymore.
I've got 3 sons, and they don't share your views about slavery and about the Holocaust. They can have decency and compassion and humanity about some of the worst things that have happened in the last 150 years or more. They
Sound
can,
like
they, can do,
girls.
they can do that. They can also have concerned
Yeah.
views about issues like immigration and other issues. The two things are not mutually incompatible. You can have different views about different things. It's your lack of humanity and compassion for people about things like the Holocaust, about slavery. It's that people find so contemptible. And I don't understand why you need to do that. Is it, again, I just ask you, is your motivation financial? Is your motivation for fun? What is the motivation for saying these outlandish things, which you don't need to say, and which I suspect, I don't know, I suspect a lot of it is performative. So what is the motivation?
I'm an iconoclast. The Holocaust is not my religion, and it is
Right.
treated like a religion. It is treated like a religion with dogma, with blasphemy laws, and that secular religion says, and you say that's a crock of shit. It's intentional. It's called The Open Society by Karl Popper. It's by these architects of the liberal order after World War II. They got together and they said, how can we make sure that Hitler never happens? How can we make sure that totalitarianism
Kill
never happens
Christianity.
again? And they came up with a consensus, which is that we need to take down nations, religions, fathers, the authoritarian personality. We need to be empathetic and altruistic. We need to be diverse and pluralistic. And that experiment isn't working. And I'll tell you the truth. Right now, and you can laugh at this, you can scoff at this, our people are being genocided in our country. 50% of the live births in the United Kingdom and in the United States are non-white. In 100 years, my ancestors, your kids who are so empathetic and compassionate, they're going to be a minority. They're going to be a minority in maybe a Muslim country, an Indian country, an Hispanic country, and these Jewish people that are 100 years old talking about my grandparents and the Holocaust, they don't care about that. Actually, they like to see it. At the SPLC, they're literally counting down the days until whites are a minority in America. So forgive me if I don't believe them when they talk about compassion. There's a genocide going on right now. It's not against the
How many
Jews.
Christians are there?
In Gaza, it's against
How many
whites.
Christians are there in the world? Like me and
1
you.
point some billion.
Yeah,
2 billion.
How many Jews are there?
15 million.
Okay. So, with a straight face, you're going to tell me the world is being overrun by the Jewry, by 15 million people, when there are over 1 billion Christians. There is a genocide of Christians like poor old Nick Fuentes going on at the hands of these 15 million Jews. Really?
See, this attitude is why you're losing. When you say
Who am I
poor old
losing to?
white people,
Who
these
am I
poor
losing
old
to?
white people.
Who am I losing to?
You're seeing it, mass migration. Oh, you're losing to me. We are losing as a civilization of mass migration.
Yes.
And here's the difference. In
You got
Israel,
emotional.
they have my politics. In Israel, they want to maintain a Jewish majority. If they had it their way, it would only be Jewish people. They're fighting like hell so that Jewish people can have as much territory, a Jewish state, they can be proudly Jewish in their own land. Whereas in America, we are being besieged by 10 million illegal immigrants in 4 years. And then whites and Christians are going to be the minority. And that's true in Canada, Australia, all the countries in Europe. So you could say there's 2 billion people, but what's the proportionality? What is the percentage of people being born that are white? Where's the arrow pointing? Where are we going to be in 50 years? In 50 years, there might be in Israel. In 50 years, there isn't
You know what
going to
makes
be
me
a
laugh
white
though?
Christendom.
You don't believe people should get married, right?
I'll stop there. The rest was kind of stupid. So yes, my thoughts. This was a great interview, a lot of fun, really funny, and I know we went a little past our time, but you know, what can we learn from this? You know, we can learn that, you know, he did bring up a lot of good points, because, you know, just this last part, if you really think about it, look at our border. It's racist, it's wrong. If we, you know, make our border higher, longer, it doesn't matter. If we work on our border, it's bad. China gets to have one, Israel gets to have one, Ukraine gets to have one. Our taxes pay for their borders. It's okay to, you know, do theirs, but what does Congress always say? Oh, it's because they're being attacked, you know, because there's a war and this and that. Oh, okay, but when we get attacked or invaded, or if something ever happens, God forbid, something happens in the future, and we get attacked and ours is not fully equipped, what's going to happen? And Nick Fuentes made a good point, you know, he brings up Israel, that if they had it their way, it would just be only Jewish people. Obviously because they don't want others there, because they know they're not going to get along and it's going to be chaos and havoc and anarchy. But same here, he's saying, okay, so we've seen what happens not just in this country but other countries when people try to coexist. Diversity is not a strength. We've seen that it doesn't work, and it's not working here, and it's going to get worse. And it's okay when that country separates everyone and doesn't let certain people in or certain religions in, but if it's us, no, we have to do it, because if we don't, we don't want to look like a racist country. Yeah, it, the point didn't get across. I believe Nick Fuentes won this one. I still think he could have been a little more prepared. He probably could have brought up the Bolsheviks. There's a lot of other things he could have brought up, but I know it's kind of hard to talk over him, so I really don't blame him, because Piers Morgan is funny. He likes to just interrupt, call someone a racist, an anti-Semite. He did the same with Dan Bilzerian, so he tries to just fight you and fight you and fight you. It's almost like he wants to lecture you and doesn't want to have a clean debate. But Piers Morgan, as you can see, couldn't defeat a kid. He also couldn't defeat Tucker Carlson, so Piers Morgan is done. I think Nick Fuentes just ended his career. And with that, I'm going to say good night, and thank you for watching this, and I'm glad you guys were here. Subscribe to my channel. You are the resistance. Back to the rabbit hole VR world. Leave a comment, reshare, rewatch, clip this, clip farm, and make sure you turn on the bell so you never miss an episode. Turn the notifications on. It helps me a lot. Remember, comment, like, reshare. I am XYBERJAE. Subscribe to my X, Rumble, YouTube, and be in the loop when I release new content. Also turn on the notifications so that you never miss an episode. I look forward to seeing you all in the future, because there is a future. You are the resistance. XYBERJAE out.